It's said he saved as many as 1 billion people from starvation. His work has brought him worldwide recognition and the Nobel Peace Prize. Norman Borlaug has dedicated his life to reversing food shortages around the globe. He was born in 1914 and raised near the community of Cresco in northeast Iowa, where his Norwegian immigrant family farmed and where he learned about dedication from his grandfather.
I think my granddad taught me to be a rebel. He said, "Don't be afraid."
Borlaug and his two sisters attended a rural school where he learned early that people from different parts of the world shared basic needs and basic values. He learned from his teachers to reach across ethnic, racial, and religious divides.
Part of the students in this one-room school were of Norwegian descent and part of Bohemian. I learned early there that this ethnic thing was pretty artificial, that the basic values were pretty much the same.
And Borlaug learned determination, first from his family and later from his high school wrestling coach, Dave Bartelma.
He always used to say to all of his wrestlers, if you aren't willing to give your best, don't waste my time and the time of all of your classmates here. Give your best or get out.
Advice Norman Borlaug would heed as he went off to the University of Minnesota, where he became a star wrestler and earned a degree in forestry and a PhD in plant pathology. In the mid-1940s, the young agronomist was offered a job with the Rockefeller Foundation. His charge was to help alleviate the food shortages in Mexico. Borlaug was dismayed by what he found.
When I arrived in Mexico, no trained people, nobody who knew how to do anything, no equipment. There'd been 3 disastrous stem rust epidemics. And when I moved into this area in Sonora, the farmers wouldn't talk to anyone labeled a scientist. I thought that I could never achieve anything.
But inspired by the lessons of his boyhood, he persevered. And after 2 decades of painstaking research, he made a stunning breakthrough that would eventually change the world. Borlaug discovered that new disease-resistant varieties of wheat could be developed which would double or triple the grain produced by each plant. The result? Dramatic increases in the income and livelihood of millions of Mexican farmers. The Green Revolution was underway. By the mid-1960s, with his Mexican program a success, Borlaug believed the high-yielding wheat he developed could help feed a mushrooming global population. Hundreds of millions faced imminent starvation on the Indian subcontinent, and Borlaug believed his new high-yield approach to agriculture might save lives. But it was a hard sell. Borlaug had to convince the leaders of both India and Pakistan, countries that were deeply divided, to adopt this new approach. He had to overcome their fear that such a radical change could fail and lead to an enormous human catastrophe. He followed the advice of his wrestling coach. Give it your best.
Someone asked me a year ago at a farmers' meeting, what was the toughest wrestling match you were ever in? And I said it was talking to the president of Pakistan when they were starving. And again a bit later to the Prime Minister of India. And I said, the stage is set, the technology is there, it's been proven, it's been tested, and now it's up to you.
In a dramatic demonstration of how international cooperation can bring about life-saving change, the leaders of Pakistan and India courageously joined with Borlaug in spreading this new approach through their countries. It worked. And from there, the Green Revolution swept through Asia and around the world, saving hundreds of millions more from famine and starvation. For his role as father of the Green Revolution, Borlaug was awarded one of the world's greatest honors, the Nobel Peace Prize for 1970.
Come to the rostrum and receive the diploma and the gold medal of the Nobel Peace Prize for 1970.
Borlaug became the first person ever to win a Nobel Peace Prize for work in agriculture. But even with the receipt of this most illustrious honor, Borlaug didn't rest. Serving on the faculty of Texas A&M for more than 2 decades, and partnering with other global leaders to continue to improve the lives of hungry and impoverished people around the world. Working closely with former President Jimmy Carter on the Sasakawa Africa 2000 project, Dr. Borlaug has sought to defeat the staggering poverty, malnutrition, and disease that causes shocking mortality rates, especially for children. Once again, breakthrough achievements pressed by Borlaug have meant relief and salvation for millions. But one of Borlaug's most long-lasting achievements may be his founding of the World Food Prize to inspire further breakthroughs in alleviating poverty, hunger, and starvation. Borlaug has returned to his roots in Iowa each October to present, with Iowa philanthropist John Ruan, the $250,000 World Food Prize, known as the Nobel Prize for Food and Agriculture, to an individual who has made a Borlaug-type discovery in helping feed the world. Always the teacher, Borlaug has developed his World Food Prize Youth Institute into one of the most prestigious and effective programs for high school-age students anywhere in the world, each year sending Borlaug-Ruan interns to Asia, Africa, and Latin America for life-changing experiences, and perhaps to inspire one of them to be the next Norman Borlaug. Each one gets the same advice Norm got as a young man when he set out on his journey. Don't be afraid. Do your best. Don't give up. It was advice that changed the world and led Norman Borlaug to be the man who has saved more lives than any other person who has ever lived.